in Mexico. Well done. Keep it going. Oh, and now we're being live streamed. Hey, what that means is there's going to be some people on the internet going, what's this? And they're going to discover that this is a group of strangers that are all connected all around the world, just saying hello, saying where we are, and then we're going to be sharing some incredible, inspiring talks of being a global community. Can you imagine stumbling upon that on YouTube? Who else have we got here? So we've got New Zealand, Jennifer. Hello, welcome, Jennifer. Thomas in Nigeria. Oh, wow. And it's 9:28, so it's 9:31 probably by the time I've said this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Really excited to have you, Nigeria. Thomas there. We've got Krishnesh in the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, and it's 12:30. Question is, have you had your lunch or are you about to have your lunch? That's the most important thing we want to know, really. Hello, Aaron in Kuwait, 11:30. We've got Nathan in Cambodia from Korea. That's a heck of a jump. Oh, I would love to hear your story and hear what you've explored around the world. Incredible. Hello, Oh, it's Folasade, Thomas from Nigeria. So that was your surname. Sorry about that. Thank you. Hello, Yashavi Nedi in Rwanda from India. Oh my goodness. That is so cool, isn't it? Sorry, I've got a new fringe and it's quite hot. Do you ever do that where you get a haircut and it's like, oh, what am I doing? Stress. Well, I just wanted to look good for you lot, you know. Nearly dyed it pink, but thought just in case it goes wrong, so I'll do that next week. It's really incredible that we've got a young person from India living in Rwanda currently speaking to us, and we're based in the UK. It's just phenomenal. Thank you so much for being here. And it's 10:30. Hope you've had your breakfast. Audrey from Nigeria, welcome to you. Brilliant. So we're now live on YouTube, so I'm sorry that I can't read the messages there, but do, just for the sake of interest, just say who you are and what time it is where you are and where you are. Lovely. We got Braille from the Philippines. Welcome again. I hope you're having more beautiful weather than here, unless it's winter where you are. When you say it's 4:30, is that in the morning or is that night, afternoon? Folasade, thank you. Hello, we've got Huang Kang. I'd rather be called, HK, sorry. Hello, HK, half Thai, half Vietnamese, currently in Vietnam. Fantastic. And it's 3:30, biscuit time. Hello from India. Hello, Anya. Zulal in Turkey. Welcome, Turkey. Welcome. This is so exciting. Zulal, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. Razan in Lebanon. Da, 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 da. I don't know why that got that song, but welcome. I'm glad you're excited, Razan. As you can tell, I am too. I must remember to breathe, actually. I'm going to do that with me. Let's just take a second. I'm going to breathe out first. That was nice, but I'm still really excited. Okay, we've got Malek Al-Khatib from Jordan. Welcome. We've got Ash in Mumbai. Welcome, Ash. Venkatesh in Qatar. Angie's got coffee. We like coffee. Coffee is very good, isn't it? Hello, Julian. Zara from Palestine. Hello, Zara. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you have as well, by the way, if you have been on one of our GSL programs before, or you've engaged with us in another way, feel free to flag that. Now, it's only 9:35. We're not launching for another 10 minutes. So if you do want to go and grab a cup of tea or a coffee or a biscuit, now is an excellent time. We're going to be talking about what's coming up soon. But just while you're arriving, as you can see, we're saying who we are, so our first name, where in the world we are, and what time it is too. Do you know what? Actually, I think we've got time. Can you also, if you haven't already, please can you tell me what you have just eaten? Because eating is so important, and it's one of my greatest pleasures. And I love food around the world. That's one of the best, one of the most simplest ways to see diversity, is the way we enjoy our food differently. And that is something I love learning. So please tell me your name, where in the world you are, what time it is, and what you've just eaten. Sorry if you like seeing things written down. It's kind of connection over perfection today. So welcome, Zara. It's such a privilege to have you. Thank you for joining us. Kiran in Kuwait, but from India. Very exciting. And it's 11:30 where you are. Noor from Jordan. Now, we've had a Noor from Jordan on our program before. I'm sure there's lots of Noors in Jordan, but still welcome, privileged to have you here. Joseph from Kuwait, 11:30 where you are. Pranay from UAE. I'm just going to scroll down to see, basically, so that I don't repeat myself and so that we can get involved in the food chat. So we've got, so Venkatesh from Qatar, but from India. It's 11:40 p.m. That is late. Thank you so much for joining us. And you've had muesli for breakfast. Now, that's great that you've had that for breakfast, but I hope you're not waiting until 11:40 p.m. for breakfast. That's criminal. So please do tell me what you've had for dinner as well. Audrey here, bread with eggs and tea. Fantastic. Hello, Mehak from Pakistan, or Mihak. It's 1:30 where you are, and you've eaten red beans for lunch. Yes, beans. I love beans. Isn't that a strange thing to be saying globally? We're in potentially 74 countries around the world, and you've got a woman that you don't know talking about how much she loves beans, but beans are great. Oh, hello. Corn and spinach with rice for lunch. That's Anandita Patil from India. Thank you for sharing that. Coffee and a breadstick, says Braille. That's not enough. Coffee is not a breakfast food. It is a drink. We've got, I just ate a hot dog. I love that. I always associate hot dogs with celebrations, and this is such a celebratory event. I know many of you will be here because you will have joined us on the journey for the Global Goals competition, and you might be waiting in anticipation to see if you've won the Global Goals competition. But really, you'll notice that we do this kind of early on in the program because actually we're all winners when we're all involved. So I'm really glad that you're eating foods associated with fun fairs and celebration, because that is what today is all about. Eggs with black bread. What is black bread? Is black bread with, because I've had charcoal bread before and it's meant to be very good for the system. So Ralph, do let me know what even is black bread? Irfan had bread with eggs and tea for breakfast. Very nice. Hello from Iqmal, Malaysia. Fantastic. Lovely to meet you. It's 4:38 p.m. Brendan, go and have dinner, please. Please go and have dinner. Obviously, you can tell me about your last meal, but not having had dinner yet, if you can, make it happen. You're going to need energy to focus on this session. We're going to eat lemon rice for lunch soon, says Kieran. I love anything with rice is, for me, heaven. I just love rice. I love the way it fills me up. But when it's combined with a flavor, oh, lemon, yum. Fantastic. Ralph says the bread, okay, just for anyone thinking what is black bread, it's made from rye, so not charcoal. Does it taste good? That's the most important thing. Might have a bit of a sour taste maybe. Oh, it's a traditional food. Fantastic. Yes. Hello. So Merva, who is in Turkey, is currently eating popcorn while watching the festival. Now that is the vibe we want to go for. It's a shame I don't have any music right here, which is probably good because you know, then it means you're less likely to see my rather awkward dancing. But if you could get hold of some popcorn or any other kind of cinema snack and enjoy this festival with that level of excitement, I'm here for you. We've got Ali from Turkey. Yes, Ali, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be able to be here is what Merv is saying, or Ali's saying, sorry. That's really, really, really good that the enthusiasm is contagious. Nasi Lemak. Sutra is eating chicken rice right now. Where are you, Sutra? And Michelle, what do you mean you're... Oh, that's yeah. So I've got a message, eco bubble from Spain. I don't know what that means. Have you just eaten an eco bubble? That doesn't sound very eco. Are you sitting in an eco bubble? Is it hot where you are? And where in Spain is it? Please tell us these things. Excellent. Venkatesh has just gotten some popcorn out of the microwave. We're loving that. Oh, Zalal. That is very healthy. Zalal is having yogurt with sliced apricots. Delicious. That's Sutra's Sutra is saying Dhaka in Bangladesh. Is that something, I'm really sorry, is that a place or is that something you've eaten? How ignorant am I? Whereas Patience is eating noodles right now, and they've written, I am eating noodles right now, all in capitals. which is great. That is the energy we want you to bring forward. Now, we are still not starting for another 4 minutes. So please, if you need to go to the loo, make that happen. Do whatever it is that's going to help you be present. Before now, I've just had to spend, not going to lie, a good 5 minutes closing down all the tabs on my browser, saving all the documents that I need to, and just clearing everything on my desktop, switching my notifications off, making sure my phone's on silent, just so that I can connect with you as much as possible, because you are the most important thing here today. You are the most important element today. And yeah, just really want to give you my all. So if you want to take these next sort of 4 minutes, 3-4 minutes to make yourself more comfortable, or to give yourself something that will help your energy. For me, it's this coffee. Please do make that happen. Razan is enjoying a mouthful of popcorn as well. We should start a popcorn business. Can you imagine that? An ethical popcorn business where the profits go to fund community action all around the world. You heard it here first, folks. I haven't had breakfast as it is very early, but I plan on eating salentado. That sounds good. It's basically putting the food remains from other days in the microwave and mixing it all. It's very common in Colombia. Oh my goodness. I made a food from Italy last night. I say I made it. The lovely Emmy Bidston prepped it. And essentially what you do is you get stale bread. So any bread that you think might go to waste, you mix eggs and I think a bit of milk there, and you soak it overnight. And last night we had that with potatoes and onion and garlic. It was really good. Like I love finding new ways to make sure things don't go to waste. I think there's a lot of pressure at the moment, isn't there, to make good choices as individuals, but it can be a bit overwhelming. But food, if we can make sure we're not wasting food, I think that's, as you know, that's probably kind of in line with my values. We've got Naima at school from UAE, and you've just had sweet melons. Oh, I'd love some watermelon right now. I love the texture. What is the dish called? So the dish that we were just talking about that is popular in Colombia, I might be pronouncing it wrong, granted, but it's either calentado or salentado. I'm really sorry, I'm butchering it. If you can spell it phonetically, Mariana, I will be your best friend. And we got the Emirates School. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to scroll up again. Also, what happened to that eco bubble? Who was it that was talking about an eco bubble? Because what is that? I want to learn. Exciting. Okay, so we've got Friday. So we're still live at the moment. Oh my gosh, we've got 1 more minute. Yeah, I am a very mature person, as you can tell. Take this very, very seriously. No, the world can be very serious, but I don't think we should take ourselves too seriously. Today is very much about having fun as much as it is about learning about important issues. So I hope you're feeling even a third of what I'm feeling right now. I can't keep still. My feet are just, this is really, really incredible. We've had, I'm not going to announce how many people we've had register for the event just yet, because I think it would be really great to find out who is actually here and who's with us. So thank you. Just thank you so much for joining us. Got about 30 seconds left. Thank you, Patience. Patience is being very flattering and kind with their words, sending that positivity right back to you. We are oh my goodness. So we are the group of Eco Bubble from the south of Spain. We just had breakfast. Chocolate chip cookies. Yes. I mean, there's so much that I love there. That means that you are involved in the Global Goals competition, which means that you have connected with people around you to see what differences you can make locally. Also, you've just had chocolate chip cookies for breakfast, so respect. It's okay. So we've got the dish pronounced from Colombia. It's called calentado. Mariana, thank you very much for correcting me there. Oh, I'm so excited. To welcome you all. And last hello, so we've got Naraka from the UAE. Now it is 9:45 a.m. isn't it? Yes, it is. This room, by the way, is the Global Goals Assembly Room. So this is kind of like if we were at a festival in real life, this would be the place where it would be like the big tent where the main sort of functions are. But we've actually got several rooms. We've got 3 other rooms as well as a stream on YouTube. So we're going to tell you all about those in a moment. Amy, before we do that, can I just welcome you on? Amy, by the way, yes, Amy, let me just give you a little intro. So Amy is the head of GSL, and as you can tell, also takes things very, very seriously. No, Amy has been championing us, has incredibly pulled together last year, very much last minute. We were expecting to be in person, and Amy kind of really spearheaded going online and connecting with people from all around the world and managed the festival last year. It was a huge success that cost a lot of energy, and this year you'd think she'd have calmed down. She's just gone even harder. We've got incredible speakers, even more young people. We've doubled the amount of young people this year, haven't we, Amy?
Yeah, it's incredible. I won't reveal just how many people have joined us yet, but yeah, we've had attendees from 74 countries who have registered to be part of the festival this year, and we have doubled our numbers, and we have 1,000 people registered. So it's been a phenomenal, and I couldn't have done it without the incredible team. So I can't take all the credit because I am not able to achieve all of this absolute joy on my own. So I'm just going to kick off a bit and let you know about what this year's about, if that's all right. So I think Jakob's got a lovely slide he's going to share with us. So this year's theme is small actions, big impact. We're going to explore how we can all come together to make ripple effects of change happen. One of the smallest actions we can take, which can have the biggest impact, is the way that we interact with each other here and now in the everyday. So I ask that you come to this festival and that we treat each other as human beings, and we come with our understanding, our empathy, and our compassion. Every single one of the speakers who will be speaking today and tomorrow are volunteering their time because they believe in the power of us all to come together to build a more sustainable and beautiful world for every one of us. We are going to tackle some challenging issues, and we're not always going to see eye to eye. And dialogue is a great thing that we highly encourage. However, if at any point during the festival you feel unsafe or we deem something to be inappropriate, one of our moderators and one of our amazing GSL team are going to step in to support you. Jakob, could you please reveal our incredible team that are supporting us today? Here they are. This is our amazing team. So each one of you have signed a code of conduct, and that's helped you to understand how we can be with each other to support each other on this journey. Now, I really hope that you will have a fun, engaging, safe, and empowering festival. And I'd like to now hand back to Ella, who's going to talk us through some of the highlights that we're going to have today in our Global Assembly Hall.
Thank you so much, Amy. May I just highlight, speaking of things, that you can tell when Amy's speaking from her heart because her Australian twang comes back. So talking about being a global audience, well, we're all from all over, and it's really, really lovely to have you leading us, Amy. Thank you very much. All right, now I'm just going to get my list out so that I don't miss anyone, because you do not want to miss any of the talks that we've got today. So I'm going to talk about the Global Assembly Room. So this is our welcome session. So if you look at your timetable, all the times, at least the ones here, are in GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. So after this, we've got a word from our founders. So that's Katy and John. They're going to give you a big hello, tell you a little bit about how this idea came about and led us to where we are today. We've got being a global social leader. Now, Cherry was a winner from our Global Goals competition, the winner in 2019 to 2020. She founded Greener is Cleaner, which is a phenomenal organization, which after GSL, after winning the competition, she really recognized that it's a collaborative process and that we do so much more when we're people powered. So that's a wonderful organization there. We've got how to grow as a leader. So we've got Katy, who is one of our co-founders, Edward, who is from the Oxford Character Project, and we've also got Emmy, who is also from the Wellington Leadership Institute. Very excited to have them there. And that is taking place, by the way, at 11:15. Don't stress about times. It's all on your timetable. Then we've got Alex. Now, Alex is from the University of Oxford, and their passion is all around valuing refugees. And the refugee crisis is horrific, but it can feel really overwhelming and complicated. So thankfully, Alex is very kindly going to talk us through kind of an introduction to how do people find themselves to be refugees, and how can we who aren't refugees really see them and value them as we should be, and uphold them to to become leaders. Then we've got, I know a lot of you will be excited for this. So we've got our Global Goals competition, and this is going to be announced by Hamzy. You have to come to this. Obviously, you want to hear about the entries that have gone into the competition, which, by the way, will be live streamed for 15 minutes before Hamzy goes live at 1:30. But Hamzy's a profoundly inspiring young man who has done life-changing work, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing him again and for you to learn more about his journey. Then we've got the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, who once again joined us last year. They're really inspiring and really topical at the moment. We're going to be talking about circular fashion. I think we all feel the pressure to look good, don't we? Beauty is a really important value, but how do we do that without harming the planet? Well, Harrison is going to be telling us about that later on today. We've then got a beautiful panel taking place at 3:45, which is going to be led by Creative Bravery Collective. And finally, we've got Reboot the Future, which is another panel discussion, and that's taking place at 5 till 6, and that's going to be our sort of close for the day. Amy, would you let me know what's in the Future Room or the Foundation Room, please?
Yeah, certainly. So this is just one of our 4 arenas. It truly is a festival, so do go check out the other areas that are available to you. So in our Future Room, which is focused for young people, we will be welcoming Aktara, who are an amazing charity that work in India with marginalized communities, and they've actually got some of their young girl champions who'll be joining us for their panel discussion. Following that, we're welcoming Latoya McAllister Jones, who is the executive director of the St. Paul's Carnival, which is an amazing carnival in Bristol, and she is going to be sharing her insights from her personal journey into leadership and how we find strength from others, which is just so GSL, because we couldn't do this without each other. This afternoon, we will be hearing from our amazing partner, Global Action Plan, because today is actually Clean Air Day. So if you want to learn about how you can take action in support of creating better air in your country, please do join that session this afternoon. And then finally today in the Future Room, we are welcoming the RISE team that are going to be talking about their phenomenal global youth talent opportunity. And you can learn about their scholarship program that is open for 15 to 17-year-olds. And then our other arena is the Foundation Room, where we'll be welcoming one of our brilliant partners from the Eden Project, Sam Kendall, who is going to be looking at how one person can make a difference. And you'll be exploring a toolkit for change makers. So do check out the other areas. You have got access to them. If there's an adult session you wish to attend, and you can't because you're a young person, you will be able to access the content post-festival. I'm now going to hand over to Katy Granville-Chapman, who has curated our amazing Flourishing Room. So Katy, can I welcome you on to the stage to talk to us about who will be in the Flourishing Room today?
Thank you so much.
Let me just make...
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. That's our first technical glitch of the day, but wonderful to be with you all, and thank you so much, Amy and Ella. It's just fantastic to be here. I couldn't be more excited, and please do come along to our Flourishing Room. It's all about spreading joy and a more meaningful, purposeful life, and how we can really look after other people to ensure that everyone feels really loved and uplifted. So we're going to start off that day with the wonderful Emmy Bidston and Dishi Clark, and they're going to be talking about empowering staff. So that's a really great session for any adults, teachers, but also young people to watch afterwards. we're really pleased to be welcoming Bob Reeves, who's actually in charge of the Foundation for Leadership Through Sport. He's an incredible man. Do go and listen to him about inspiring leadership, but also that people aren't born leaders. People are actually able to learn to become leaders and to grow. And he's got some wonderful case studies and examples to share with us. I'm super excited to get to work with the wonderful Matt Lee, who's actually known as the Professor of Love. He's at Harvard University, so you won't want to miss that. So he's joining the absolutely fabulous Jim Ritchie Dunham, who talks so beautifully about the idea of abundance. And he's got this really cool book out called Eco-Synomics, and it's how we completely flip the way we think about our interactions with people. So leading to a future you love, your big yes. Don't miss that one. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. Tomorrow morning we come back and we've got a Leadership for Flourishing panel, which is kind of focused on Glide, but a number of different ways that through your leadership, through your interactions with other people, you can flourish and they can flourish. And we're thrilled to welcome from Oxford University, Sue, who's done some incredible work actually studying team dynamics on a tall ships race across the Atlantic. So you don't want to miss that. That's really great. John Beals at Eton College, but also a fellow at St Anthony's. He's done some really fantastic work, especially on character. So if you're interested in that. And the lovely John Mace from Cheltenham College, also doing his PhD at Oxford at the moment. He's got some really interesting things to say about developing communities and character. So don't miss that. We're so excited to be able to bring you our Summer of Change after that. This is an opportunity for all of you to join us online, to work together, to collaborate and really make a difference in the world. So that's a really great information session about that. So parents and teachers, please do come and hear what our plans are for the summer to bring young people together and give them what they need, the inspiration, the connections, and the tools to really go back to make a difference in their communities. We love Harry Jones, who's coming next. He's going to be talking about reordering fear. And he has some really interesting experiences of fear and how actually shifting your perspective on that can make a big difference. And then Emmy and I will be talking about Choose to Challenge, using the International Women's Day slogan about how we can lead differently, how we can lead in a way that is full of love and purpose, and it's all about spreading joy and fulfillment. And then we're going to end up with Honourable Living Day, which is from the fabulous Scott Parsons, who's also an amazing researcher around character and flourishing and well-being. So yeah, really exciting day, 2 days planned in our flourishing room. And yeah, really happy now to hand over to John. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Katie, and welcome everybody. I'm so excited and delighted to be here. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And I think this is so true of what Global Social Leaders is all about, what this festival is about. And when you look at the feed and you look at the people that are here, the excitement, the passion, we are the people that are going to make the change and create a brighter future for all. I'm John Harper, Chief Executive of Future Foundations and co-founder of Global Social Leaders with Katy, who you've just met and will be saying a little bit more about our GSL journey. But what I wanted to say to you is that we believe that we need to prepare young people to be leaders in their lives, leaders in society. And that is why we created the Global Social Leaders movement in 2013. The movement has grown, expanded, and adapted to the world. And that's what we need to do. And that's what we need to be to create a more sustainable world. This is our second festival at home. It was not our original vision for this event. Our original vision was an in-person, face-to-face event at the amazing and awe-inspiring Wellington College, where we would share from there to the world. But instead, due to the unfortunate circumstances and challenges that COVID is forcing us to have. Last year, as said before, we adapted and took this online. But actually, last year's event was the highlight of 2020 for me, and I believe so many other people. And it was the most inclusive GSL event, and it was the catalyst for growing our movement. So in many ways, we are so excited to actually return for our second GSL Festival at home, where you can join us from anywhere in the world at any time. And reading the amazing chat of where some people are joining us at 3 a.m. People literally are joining us from everywhere, all over the world, and we are together and connected. And I really truly believe that there's never been a time where we've needed to come together, to connect, to be with each other. And whilst we can't, and maybe we shouldn't be flying all around the world to meet each other, actually making sure that we have real connections and we understand and talk to each other and be inspired by each other is so important. And that's the spirit of this event. It's grown in numbers and it's flourished. We've added a flourishing stream, an amazing lineup of speakers. And I have to say, the global audience that we've got of young people, educators and stakeholders is just incredible. And I'm just so excited to connect and meet you over the next 2 days. And I would just like to say a massive, a big thank you to our team who've worked tirelessly to create this lineup, and our partners and our colleagues, because they wanted to inspire you and also celebrate the young people that have taken part in Global Social Leaders this year. And we've been inspired by what you've done and the projects you've created, and we'll be celebrating the youth action that's been taking place. And we asked you what your passions and interests were and who you wanted to speak. And Alice and Amy and our team have been going out to try and find, those speakers, and they've put together such a fantastic lineup. And I'm just blown away by who's attending and taking part. So before we look forward to what's upcoming and start to hear from some of our speakers and guests, I'm now going to pass the mantle back to Katy, who's going to share with you the GSL journey that brought us to today. So over to Katy.
Oh, thank you so much, John. It's just the biggest privilege to have been a part of this journey from the start. And we'd been working together, John and I, before GSL came about. And we happened to be going for a curry with some teachers from Singapore. And all the best things happen over a meal, don't they? So definitely a piece of advice for all of you is make sure you eat together, eat with your teams, eat with people who are visiting you, and make those connections. Because this pair of teachers from Singapore said to us, do you think you could do a leadership program for our students? And we're like, yeah, of course, but would it be better if we actually brought in students from around the world and young people from around the world to come together to design social action projects and to inspire each other and make the world better? And they're like, yeah, great idea. And that is how GSL was born. What was wonderful was that we were very privileged and able to host it at Wellington College. And from the first year, we got quite a few young people from different countries, and they came to Wellington for a couple of weeks to work together. But then we thought, we need to build this because not everyone can come to the UK. This is a real shame. So we started sending our coaches to other countries to do GSL Catalyst programs. And so our wonderful, wonderful coaches, our team went to India, China, Mozambique, South Africa, Romania, and the UAE, and they started delivering programs there in partnership with local organizations and schools. And that worked really well. We combine that with working with teachers as well. We love having the opportunity to work collaboratively with teachers to grow our leadership together and think about how we can empower young people. Last summer, we hope to have our big World Summit, as we call it, at Wellington again and welcome young people from around the world. But obviously, COVID stopped that. So instead, we went online, and we were really lucky to get some government funding. And we had over 1,700 people join us online over the summer. And at the end of that, they took on some amazing social challenges that really did make a difference in their communities. From there, we were also very lucky to work with COBIS, the Council of British International Schools, for another online programme. And then what got really exciting was that we were able to partner with Rise, and please do attend their session later and hear more about this incredible organisation. And between those two programmes, we were absolutely thrilled to welcome young people from 70 different countries to join us online, to develop their leadership, to connect with each other, to inspire each other, and to take on social action challenges too. So this summer, we've got the Summer of Change. We've got 2 time zones. Please don't miss out. We'd absolutely love to welcome you for that. Come and connect with other young people. You can see how many young people from how many different countries are contributing already today. But come and join us for that. But just from me, the biggest thank you to our absolutely incredible team. They work so tirelessly and with so much passion, and they never ever see anything as an obstacle. They just go around it. They'll find a way to bring young people together and to empower you guys and inspire you guys to make the change that we really do need in the world. So thank you so much for joining us, especially at some really crazy hours. We're so happy to be with all of you, and I'm going to hand back to Ella now. Have a great couple of days, everyone.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. That's great. That's really good. Now, you'll notice my background keeps on changing. I don't know why that is. Technophobe here. I'm definitely someone that works better in a team. So thank you for sharing wisdom as we go. So we've still got, even though I know that Cherry is here, just in case anyone is joining the session bang on when it's meant to start at 10:15, I'm going to ask, actually, Katy and John, are you still there? Because I would love to use this time so that if anyone wants to dash and go grab a cup of tea, but if anyone's still here, we can just be chatting. Is that okay?
Love to chat, Ella. Always great joy.
And can I just say as well, like, so for those of you that aren't familiar with John and Katy, myself and my colleagues, we've had many of us the privilege of working with them for many years. In fact, in 2012, Bonkers Katy put together, we had a national project in the UK for young people, and Katy put together an experience to help young people empathise with refugees. So my first youth work experience that was residential, I was sleeping in the woods under a tiny piece of tarpaulin, which is like a plastic sheet, with people I'd never met, and it changed my life. And it's been a really beautiful time since then, being led by such heartfelt people. And yes, just in case you are wondering, Katy, her energy is like that all the time. So now my question to you two, something that we're really championing, collaboration, but sometimes it's really hard to connect when we're online and when it's quite easy to sort of zone out or like just listen. What advice would you have for someone that is passionate about something but just doesn't really know how to, is feeling a bit embarrassed and awkward about asking for help?
Would you like to go first, Katy, or do you want me to?
Go for it, John, and I'll dive in.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick up my coffee because I always say, ask people for coffee. And you sort of say, can I have a chat? Can I ask you for your advice? And I think people do appreciate and like giving advice and support. They always say, like, if you ask for funding, you'll get advice. If you ask for advice, then you might get other wider support. So almost don't be afraid to kind of offer to kind of do something nice for someone else, and it will be paid back, I think, sometimes in dividends. And I think people enjoy it. I'm surprised how many people don't sometimes reach out and ask, and I sometimes get the odd WhatsApp and someone's like, oh, would you be able to connect me with this person? I'm like, yeah, sure. And they're like, I'm surprised you replied. I'm like, okay, no, that was nice to hear from someone that, you know, and hear about your project. And so, yeah, I almost encourage people to reach out and just do it. And once you've done it once, then you keep doing it. So you've just got to get over that sort of ask. But also give back as well. Like, if you start giving back, then it sort of creates that virtual cycle. So don't just be the one that's always asking. Almost look out for opportunities to give back, and then you'll get more used to being able to, and then you'll feel more comfortable in asking. I'll stop there.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, John. Katy, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Oh, definitely. John is so right. Definitely invite people for coffee, invite them for a piece of cake, whatever they like. Love that. Yeah, getting the food involved, definitely. The other thing I'd say is actually, it's not about you, it's about the cause. So it's not you trying to promote yourself, it's not you trying to, you know, make this connection for your sake. You're doing it on behalf of your cause. You're doing it on behalf of trying to make the world better in whatever area you're passionate about. And actually, if someone's working in that area, they're passionate about it as well. And yeah, John and I are a little bit older than most of you guys, and we absolutely love hearing from young people. So actually the chances are you're doing them a favor by bringing a bit of energy and light into kind of our lives if you connect with people our kind of age. So I'd say go for it. And if they reject you, no problem. It's not personal. Just try someone else. Keep pushing those doors until you find the right person to connect with. And yeah, good luck.
Thanks so much from both of you. There's definitely something around getting over yourself. Sort of, and it's just practice, you get better at it. I love as well that you're creating this image of, you know, I think we all feel sometimes like, because we're asking for somebody's time or maybe resources or what's advice, that we're somehow burdening them. But you're right, actually, it feels good to support a great cause. So you're actually giving them an opportunity to feel good and feel connected, which is really important now more than ever. Thank you. What about we're talking, you know, the theme for this year is all about the ripple effect, really. It's kind of about how we plant seeds, but we don't always get to see them growing. If we're talking about the ripple effect, what comes to mind for you? What have you witnessed, or what have you experienced, or what are you hoping for?
I think for me, definitely the GSL movement. I can't believe how it's grown, and I am so grateful to the team because it's so much about the work that they've put in, the passion that they've put in, the tireless energy and devotion that they put to it, and also the young people. We never expected it to grow as it's grown. We're in like 105 countries. It's just incredible. Young people doing the most amazing things, and it's really young people inspiring young people. And so when you join this movement, you know that you're not just inspiring your community, but actually when you share your story, when you share what you're doing, you're inspiring young people and connecting with young people around the world. So I think plant those seeds and go for it and water them as much as you can, and just see what happens.
Beautiful.
I always think of a time when I was lucky enough to climb part of the Himalayan mountains, and we used to trek up and then would sleep below where we got to. And I think that's very much what social change is like. You put a lot of time and energy in, and often you're going forward, but you feel like sometimes you're going back. And in order to get to the top of the mountain, I think there is that thing. It's always, you're on a journey, and it will be tough at times. And sometimes it is better to step back, to step forward. And that's good for you and good for others. And that also that thing that you feel like you haven't got very far, and then you turn around, look behind you, and you see how far you've come. And that's, for me, that thing. Sometimes it's important when you feel like you haven't gone anywhere, just turn around and have a think. Actually, I have come quite far, and we have done amazing things, and almost give yourself a break. And that might be the time to sit down and just survey the view, and then work out, you know, where am I trying to get to and why. And so it's almost those points of like that, those ripples. I think also you sometimes don't realize that those conversations of just keeping going, 7 years on, someone will call you or phone you, and you have no idea how that connection happens, but that is actually how change happens. It takes a long time, but those little things that you do over time often add up and create that momentum.
Oh, dude, like I hope if you haven't already, grab a pen and some paper, because there is going to be some pretty chock-a-block wisdom today and tomorrow. Wow, that was gorgeous. Thank you so much. And it's so funny. I was just thinking this morning how much even last year's GSL, the festival at home, I've seen the ripple effects. I've lived the ripple effects. There are conversations that were had last year that I think about every 2 to 3 weeks. And I've even collaborated with an organization that I met on GSL. I only clocked that this morning. That's pretty huge. So I hope that we all get to experience the benefits and carry that ripple forward. But as John says, also allow ourselves to take a break and be kind to ourselves. Thank you so much, Katy and John. Thank you for the festival, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, Ella. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, folks. All right, it's the exciting, not that wasn't exciting, but this is very exciting. It is my pleasure. In fact, before I welcome our next guest speaker for our first real session, I just wanted to remind you about a couple of functions. So normally we have the chat function operating throughout on a Zoom call. However, just to allow our speaker to be in full flow and be really present, if Cherry is anything like me, a little pop up in the chat box will grab her attention and they might go off track. So yeah, we're gonna hold the chat for the duration of the talk. But if you're like me and you burst full of ideas, write them down, or you can even put them in our Q&A. So don't use the Q&A as a comment section. Use the Q&A, which is like the little speech bubbles in the bottom right-hand corner, sort of near there on your screen. Use the Q&A function to ask Cherry questions. She's a brilliant resource. All right, here we go. So Cherry founded Greener is Cleaner, originally founding this in South Korea. This organization now works globally. She won the Global Social Leaders Global Goals competition 2019 to 2020, and since then has just really moved on from strength to strength. What I really love about Cherry's project is that even though she started it alone, it's really people powered now, and her vision, I mean, you can just hear her so clearly. She really wants to motivate and lead as an example for other young people to basically hold for climate justice and take action that really changes our planet. So it's really, really awesome to have you today, Cherry. I'll help you out with the Q&As at the end if needed, but otherwise I would love it if we could hear from you about what it means to be a global social leader. Thank you very much, Cherry.
All right, thank you so much, Ella, for the introduction. And before I start anything, I would like to express my greatest gratitude for GSL and Future Foundations for inviting me to this festival and allowing me to speak again today. So I will jump right into what I've prepared, and I hope that this will be helpful for everyone watching today. So yes, I will be speaking about being a global social leader as the leader of Greener is Cleaner and a part of GSL movement for, I guess, like almost 2 years now. So yes, I'll be speaking about this topic and I hope you enjoy. A little bit about me before I start is that I am a 15-year-old student and climate activist from South Korea. And as I said, I have founded and am leading this organization called Greener is Cleaner, which is an initiative that I started just a few months before I joined last year's Global Goals competition. So that's one of the things. And you can find more about me through my socials in Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So if you're interested, please connect through that. So now, what have my experience been with global social leaders? The first time that I've got into contact with GSL was last year's Global Goals competition, which I believe that a lot of the attendees here have participated in this year's. So again, a lot of the things that you have gone through are the things that I've gone through. So I'm really glad to know more about your projects. And I've been observing the posts uploaded through GSL. So I'm really excited to learn more about that in the coming weeks, days, and years. And after that, after being the winner of last year's Global Goals competition, I've been invited to many speaking events and the podcast, even hosting service assembly at my school, Chatham International, with GSL team member Jakub. And also today I'm speaking here so that because I want to empower more youth and share my experience so that all of you could be a global social leader. So now, as I've said, the first time I've got into contact with GSL was through the Global Goals competition. And I want you to recall these memories of the beginning, the idea generation phase, where you had to write a project planning document, where you had to discuss with your team members or even a mentor if you had one, and really dream big and start your project planning. And I also recall these nostalgic times, I guess, and I really appreciate that this structure and the competition phase that was outlined for us allowed us to grow from it structurally and allowed our plan to be more sustainable, which I guess was a valuable asset of our organization and initiative. So what have I learned and developed with global social leaders? As I've said, throughout the past years, I have been able to get in contact with many people. And of course, through this service initiatives that I've taken, I have created and developed a greater awareness, global awareness about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which I am pretty sure that all of you are aware of at this moment. So these global goals are aimed to be achieved by 2030. And as these 17 goals work in solidarity with together, I got to understand the specific aims that they are designed for and how each of them could work together and how I could take advantage of them to structure what actions I can take and what I aim to take in the future and etc. I'll talk more about this later. And moving on with service leadership, I've learned that leadership when it comes to service initiatives, especially with UN SDGs, have a different turn. So leadership could have very different types, qualities that a leader have and etc. However, I learned that as being a service leader, a global social leader, it really requires that sense of empathy and that understanding within your group as well as the world and environment so that you could lead a better group and make the practical changes that you want to. And people power is a very integral part of Greener is Cleaner and how I operate as an individual as well, because I've learned throughout the journey with GSL that individual actions are important. However, when it is combined with social actions and more people creating a community and a movement, it creates greater power and more ideas are generated. So I want to propel this people power and instigate the fact that people power allows you to make a greater impact among you today. Also, I've learned with GSL about how to measure impact and why that is important, the magnitude of it. Because so far I've taken a lot of actions and didn't really get to reflect on that. However, throughout the GSL journey, I've learned to different ways I can measure impact, whether it be qualitative or quantitative, and why that's important. I'll touch base on that in the next slides as well. And I've also got to learn about my strengths and weaknesses. And these were found because I dedicated myself to service action and the different goals that I've aimed to achieve. So I'm really glad that I've got involved with this movement, and I'm really glad that you are also involved in this movement in the future and will continue this journey. So now about the UN SDGs and the understanding of it. Here are some photos that some service actions that I've taken in the past before COVID-19, of course, and I have kind of connected them with the UN SDGs that are relevant. As you can see on the left, I have gone on a service trip to Nepal to help and empower the marginalized and underrepresented women in Nepal due to their cultural some stigma and inequality. What we have done with my friends and teachers were teach computer skills, English and Korean literacy skills, as well as some cooking skills. We also got to promote the UNSG of 8 because these women under the 7 Women organization have been creating handicrafts, and we promoted these handicrafts so that they could develop themselves from their economic status, and which was really helpful and very heartwarming because we got to connect with various people in that process. On the right, when I have participated in the emergent leadership training in the Philippines, I have handed out some food and educational materials that Filipino students could get through the pushcart library that the CNN Hero of 2009 have initiated. So that was also very fun, but at the same time really meaningful because it directly impacts the specific global goals. Now, more about the actual Greener is Cleaner initiatives that we've taken with the UN SDGs of 13, 14, and 15. The first thing that I've done when I've gotten to expand my view on environmental issues was read a lot of articles and educate myself about these environmental issues like plastic pollution, climate change, global warming, and etc. So at the big picture that you can see on your left is a photo of me educating young people on a big tower at my city, Songdo, educating youth about the plastic pollution that I have learned about through reading articles. I just set up my laptop and iPad to educate youth and raise awareness in my community so that they could go on and talk about that and raise greater awareness in their bubbles. Other actions that we've taken after COVID-19 include just distributing some sanitary masks and other supplies, as well as promoting SDGs of 11 and 12 by discussing with CEOs of specific corporations about how we can reduce plastic pollution and plastic waste from the corporation, for example, by stripping away the plastic straws that they attach in their beverages. So something like this could be all attributed to the UN SDGs that you're trying to aim. And it really allowed me to grow as a global leader. But mainly with Greener is Cleaner, my main initiative, the vision statement is to empower youth to take action for the environment. And as it was introduced, we lead by example, and that is the main, I guess, strategy that we use to go through and really achieve this vision statement. And we the UN SDGs that we aim to achieve are 11, 12, 13, and 17. And I would like to spotlight the SDG of partnership for the goals because that has not been portrayed before. I strongly believe that the UN SDG 17 is one of the most important SDGs at this era because every UN SDG requires a sense of solidarity, that connection in your community, in your local community, and the global international community to be achieved. And I really think that without solidarity, none of the goals could be achieved because, especially with climate change, one individual taking action, one country taking action is not sufficient. And that is the same with other economic and social goals. So I want to just convey that message that partnership and solidarity is really important in this unprecedented era and the time to really strengthen ambition for the UN SDG goals. But now, what do Greener is Cleaner do? You may have seen our Instagram through various media. It could be through Global Social Leaders website or just anywhere. However, to summarize it down for you about how we take action, the first thing that we do is raise awareness. This is the fundamental thing that we do because the raising awareness should be the first step before we take like actions or campaigns so that other people, the audience could understand our main goal and the target that we're trying to culminate. So these include writing website articles weekly on our website, greeneriscleaner.org, doing campaigns and strikes online or offline, making infographics and media. As you can see, some of them are portrayed in the slide through our Instagram. Another thing we do is give and promote environmental education. A level or degree of environmental education integrated in the curricula will differ depending on the nation that you are dwelling in. However, especially with South Korea, environmental education is very restricted. It's confined in the stigma, like the cultural academic culture, and we try to break that by doing policy proposals, hosting talk shows or webinars about the importance of environmental education, and etc. The third thing that we do is promote eco schools. So eco school is a certification that the international organization eco schools give. to different schools around the world. And for Greener is Cleaner, we have helped our school, Chadwick International, become the first school to have Eco School certification in South Korea. And currently, we are helping other international schools in our country to receive the certificate, and also planning to help other schools outside of Korea to achieve this Eco School certification, so that more awareness could be created and more schools could turn more eco-friendly. And lastly, we voice ourselves, of course, through competitions, policy proposals, and conferences. And one point that I want to highlight about voicing ourselves is that voicing does not have to be confined into a very big group that you may think of. It doesn't have to be in a great conference or anything. It could just be from your friends and from your peers, family, and school. And then from there, you can grow your target audience. So this is something that I really want to emphasize, because a lot of people might worry, including me in the past. So yes, that's something that you don't have to worry. Now, I would like to talk about people power, and this is the biggest thing, I guess, that I've learned from global social leaders. So people power is a very compelling force that allows you to create bigger change and measure impact as well, because through people power, it's not just you alone in the fight. It's not a solitude, very lonely fight, but more of a solidarity that allows you to take greater action and explore the world, because more heads mean more ideas. And as you cooperate, you get to develop your cooperation skills and communication skills, global awareness, and be more productive in general. So I want to push this concept out to the world that people power instigates greater action, and want you to really focus on this in your initiatives. Now about measuring impact. So why is measuring impact important, you may ask? And my answer to that will be that you grow from mistakes. And this is a very, this is a quote that has been repeated from a lot of people. However, you learn from mistakes, and if you do not fall, you don't get to grow and stand up again. So with measuring impact, you get to reflect on your past experiences and be more resilient in the future. So the graphs and charts and tables that I have put on the slide show how I've been measuring impact quantitatively in my school about food waste, plastic pollution ban, and some water fountain data that we have started from, I guess, 2018, 2019, and have been continuing now. However, another idea of measuring impact could be writing essays or any reflection document, because it allows you to be more specific about what you have learned, your emotions, and etc. from what you've been doing. So qualitative actions could be there for measuring impact. Now, lastly, I want to talk about how I've got to identify my strengths and weaknesses and how I could grow from them. So I have been really candid and honest when I have been creating this slide. And I just wanted to be really vulnerable in front of you, because many people could view as a leader as someone who is flawless, who only has strengths. However, it is really important to notice and recognize that everyone has weaknesses and areas for improvement. And here are some of mine. My strengths are self-motivation, determination, and resilience. And my weaknesses are delegating responsibilities, building trust, and self-care. And I have gotten to identify this by myself through the journey that I've taken with my initiative. And they have been supplemented by some comments that my school advisors have written for me in my progress reports at the end of school each year. So yeah, I really want to put it out in front of you all, because although I could be self-motivated, self-driven, and really dedicate a lot of things to the actions that I take, it is really important to take care of yourself first, so that you are ready to take responsibility for your actions in the long run and make your plan sustainable. Also, delegating responsibilities was and it still is a struggle for me, because since I like to have a lot of things on my plate, it hinders others' chances to grow. So that is something that I really want to touch upon. And yeah, that is as a global social leader, you could not be perfect, you could not be flawless, and it's really important to understand that. Now, what would I describe the GSL journey in 3 adjectives? They would be motivating, empowering, and adventurous. So motivating because through the journey and looking at others, I've been able to develop the self-determination and that belief and passion that I had for environmental activities and fighting against climate change. Also with empowering, the fact that everyone is in this together, like taking action for the global goals was really inspiring and empowering. And lastly, adventurous because I got to explore different SDGs, connect with people from around the world, and expand my network. Also, being a global social leader is not about engaging every single person, but rather emphasizing with as many people as possible and expanding your vision across and over your local community. So this is a quote I resonate a lot with, and I think I've shared this previously as well, that as we lose ourselves into service of others, we discover our own selves, like our strengths and weaknesses. So before I end my presentation and begin the Q&A session, I want to show this sequence given by Future Foundations about how to make change happen. And I really think that this is really helpful for anyone here. So the first thing when you want to make change happen is to take responsibility. And this is also why you have to take care of yourself. Taking responsibility of your own actions allow you to go further and have plan B, C's, and etc. And by pursuing your passion and contributing your talents, it allows you to enjoy the journey, which is the third step. So they all come together. And lastly, it's really important to be authentic because you're not just taking action to be someone else or do something for your school or anything, right? It's just for your own passion, it's for the authentic change that you want to make. And I really believe that this is a true value of service action and a thing that global social leaders should do. And that marks the end of my presentation. And I'm really glad to speak here and engage with a lot of people today. So thank you so much for listening.
Well, hey, thank you very much. I'm very quickly getting my GSL branding on the back there. Bloomin' heck, Cherry. That is, it just blows my mind that the things that you're talking about, I'm nearly twice your age and I've been engaged in social action from quite a young age, but wow, you are a phenomenal young woman. Thank you so much for gifting us with not just your presence, but your open heart. How did it feel sharing your weaknesses in such a huge way in 74 countries?
Yeah, that's a very good thing. And I think that it has like this pattern of going out and being open to a lot of people have started from like 2018 because I have been diagnosed with anorexia nervosa, and as I've shared in previous circumstances, I have been open to this by sharing with as many people as possible to gain their support, and also making a TED Talk so that more people could know about how an anorexic person could view the world and how they could recover and take action for themselves and those around the person. So yeah, I think today's opportunity was another good opportunity to empower others to be open and be more honest, I guess.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. I think, thank you for the bravery, by the way, just for the open-heartedness, sharing about, having an eating disorder. That's a big deal to be open about that. I think something that you've talked about just now is this desire to, or the importance rather, of self-care. And I certainly relate to that. I don't delegate very well. I tend to have lots of things going on, and then my self-care slips. And I think it's really hard when we're in a culture that can be quite obsessed with self and this idea of self-image. But what you're doing right now, whether you know it or not, is that you are leading by example, because sometimes we can feel like we can't make a difference until we ourselves are perfect. but we're never going to be perfect. So for you to show I'm in recovery and I'm making changes and I'm doing it with other people around me, that is just phenomenal. So thank you so much for bringing your beautiful light to this room today. I know we're going to have some more questions in the Q&A. Oh, hang on, let's just double check to see if anything's coming in. Oh, okay, that's really cool. I really like the initiative you're taking. So this is from Emre Kagler. If you can also, when you leave your question, by the way, folks, do say which country you're in. So Emre says, I wanted to ask, how have you started your journey? What made you decide to take these actions?
All right, that's a very good question. And I totally forgot to mention this in my presentation. So I guess the first part starts with how I got interested in this topic, I guess, about environmental activism was when during the anorexia recovery, I've been exposed to a lot of media and news about the environmental issues that have been prevalent around the world. And that was the limited things that I could see because in the past years, the environmental issues have been on a rise and of urgency. And I believe that it allowed me to distract myself from the illness that I have been going through. And by taking action, I could take care of myself first and learn to help others from myself. So I think that progress was really helpful. And about building a team and starting Greener is Cleaner as an initiative, I started from my school peers because that was the easiest, the fastest contact that I could go through. So you may think that building a team could be really difficult, but if you search from those around you, it's really easy and allows you to jump right ahead and be more confident because you know each other. And that is how I started Greener is Cleaner.
Amazing. There's definitely a message in that about working where you are and listening and supporting the people around you and educating the people around you. I mean, there was another sort of light bulb moment, an aha moment, as Oprah Winfrey calls them, which was when you were talking about how you were educating people in your local community just by using your laptop, using the resources you had available to you. Now, we are very privileged, each of us, to be able to access the internet and access technology in this way. But that just goes to show that all of us have at least some resource, and using what we already have is so much a part of being a global social leader. Thank you so much for that. Here we go. Okay, so this is from Julian Chan. I'm just going to reword ever so slightly. So how do you think we can implement countries to use less plastic, especially in developing countries? So perhaps where resources aren't as widely available and plastic is so heavily relied upon. What is something that we can do in these communities, do you think?
Again, thank you, Julian, for that amazing question. And I think this question applies not only for plastic pollution, but also climate change. And I think that this inequality is a really important issue to be dealt with. So how I think we can implement these countries is that from the youth perspective, from my perspective, I think the easiest things or the most feasible things that you could do are, number one, raise awareness in your community, whether it be through online media or offline campaigns or strikes. It has been proven to be really effective because if you look at the initiative Bye Bye Plastic, it allowed the country from where the initiative stemmed from to really ban plastic bags and straws, and it just reduce the amount of plastic pollution and waste that the country has created in a very short term. So something like that could be really helpful. Also, pledges or petitions help because they are something that are more formal. And I also think that by participating in conferences and discussing these issues with other people around the world or with your local community leaders, it'll be really helpful for you to get more ideas about different innovations that you could implement and etc. Another thing, if you look at like the international community's view, because I've been involved with some mock conference of parties, some ideas that have sprouted from there is that more innovative ideas could be developed in these developing countries with the funds that are given by international banks like GCF or a World Bank. And these are mainly funded by the developed countries. So with that solidarity and connection between the both worlds and these different countries, it really helps to fuel the internationalism and that community. So I hope that helps your query.
I love that. Your answers are so multi-layered and just sprinkled in gratitude and connection. Thank you so much for that. I think it's really interesting, isn't it, around disposable plastics, because disposable means that we don't value it, we don't hold on to it, we get rid of it. And, some people say that the way that we treat our things is how we really think about ourselves. But what you've just said here is kind of stepping into our power as human beings, because as humans, we're not a burden on the planet. We have human rights. Now, obviously, we need to look after our planet, otherwise we become a burden. But stepping into the systems like that, that's what you're saying, I think, is around connecting to the existing structures, standing up to power in an organized way, connected with other countries even. But these sort of policies are going to create real systemic change in those communities. Thank you so much. That was really, really helpful. We've got a question from now, Bisha and Ralph. I'm going to merge your questions together. It's how you must have faced challenges. Now, COVID we'll talk about separately, but did you find that you weren't always heard in the way that you meant to be heard, or did you face any people that just didn't seem to respect your message, and how did you deal with it?
Yeah, definitely. And it has been a struggle for a lot of actions that we have taken. So for example, with climate strikes, when we have first set up and set out to the streets and started that, a lot of the views were negative and pessimistic and like misinterpreted, because of course, it could be a cultural thing, but in South Korea, especially going out, striking schools, protesting, and especially because we're students, is really a thing that is not common, and it has not been done before about any social or economic or environmental issues. So whatever we have been doing was something that could be viewed as abnormal. So a lot of things that adults especially have said were that we could take these actions for the environment later on when we grow up and develop majors on or careers in these fields and etc., or be like, you should focus on your studies now. But also these views have not been coming just from adults, but also from our peers, because not all youth are agreeing to these challenges that we fight against. So some people could see us as students who do things that are not necessary at the moment. However, this could be just from lack of awareness among these people. So these were some challenges and some drawbacks that we have faced. But with COVID-19, if I could address it now, with COVID-19, of course, the engagement levels were kind of reduced because physical contact could not be done, and with the traditional school strikes for the climate on the streets had to be replaced with a Zoom with only like 30 people on site and the rest Zoom. And also because we could not like have face-to-face discussion, we had to adopt to Zoom or other online softwares, which was really difficult and took a lot of time for us to learn how to engage more audience and etc. So they were the challenges that we faced along the journey.
It sounds like you really adapted to it, because obviously, you were literally handing out packs, weren't you, for the COVID crisis? You were handing out face masks and sanitary bags. Like, that's really responsive. How did you overcome those challenges?
For us, the challenges of the limited restrictions and etc. were to look at different UN SDG goals that we could tackle, because although Greener is Cleaner's main initiative could be mobilizing youth to take environmental action, it doesn't mean that we should only do that. We could adapt to the social changes or the status quo, and of course do other actions like distributing masks and hand sanitizers to marginalized people in our country, or talking about the economic economic downturns that are happening in our country because of COVID-19 that happened, but in connection to waste disposals and those management, that economic downturn is really critical to that issue. So everything could be connected, and by connecting these thoughts and taking actions that are not just confined to our main goal, we were able to adapt to these challenges.
Wowza. So it's kind of staying flexible and still listening, and it kind of comes into that connectedness, doesn't it? Amazing. All right. Lovely. I'm just going into the Q&A function. So we've got lots of, your initiative is incredibly inspiring and empowering. Oh, this is a great question. So this is from Noor in Jordan. She said, my question is, how involved are you in running Greener is Clearer, and how do you balance that out, that part of your life, with school life?
That's a very good question. And I think that this is something that many people could struggle from because we have other things that we have to do. However, our enthusiasm and our passion to take action for the world is just imbuing, right? So for me, a tip that I would like to give you is, number one, change your mindset about having to do something, as I've said a lot in the different presentations, change the mindset of viewing things as burden or tasks to viewing them as opportunities. As you can say, I get to do something, like I get to speak at this conference, I get to take action and share my ideas so that they could develop with others, with people power. And the second tip I want to give you is organize the things that you want to do and prioritize. You can make a checklist, you could make a vision board or a dream board, something like this. It really helps. And I think that if you make connections to your preoccupations or different things that you work for with the action that you're trying to take, it really helps, because I'll just make a connection with 2 cups of water, right? So 1 cup of water is something that you want to take action for. So for me, it could be environmental activities, and another cup of water could be filled with things that you are obliged to do, for example, schoolwork. And during school time, if you get chances to connect with your friends and teachers, it's always an opportunity to take environmental action. So you put a straw or anything in between these cups and just allow water to flow in between. So by doing that, it allows you to reduce time that are taken for both activities, but at the same time, increase the productivity because you're doing 2 things at the same time and making greater impact by taking advantage of your time, your peers, and your environment. So that's my tips.
Awesome. So you're kind of integrating your passion and your commitments. It's kind of similar to how you're sort of integrating self-care and supporting others, because you're talking about how, particularly with your condition, you find yourself really caring a lot about this thing outside of yourself, and actually by focusing on that, it allows you to take care of yourself there. Yep. And then so it's this, in my head I can just see this battery that's sort of charging itself almost. Here we go. Oh, we got a great question here. So around, oh, now it's gone. Leadership, I saw it, it was about leadership. There we go. So Hoang Khan says, as a fellow 15-year-old, you have completely inspired me in a span of 20 minutes. You did and will continue to do a great job. My question is, how did you practice to speak like a leader? Was it experience? You've kind of touched on it already, but how is it that you, Cherry, you're 15 years old and you have the authority and the openness of somebody that has, I don't know, been a Buddhist monk for 50 years. There's something really calm and yet sensible about you. How are you doing this?
Well, thank you so much for the compliments. And I am not really sure about how to stage the phrase, I guess, speaking like a leader. However, the calmness or the confidence that comes in my speeches, I guess, are from practice and the self-taught like education, because whatever the topic that I could talk about is sprouting from my experience or my own research, and that allows you to give more confidence whenever you're speaking. For example, if I don't know about a certain scientific topic, it would be really difficult for me to explain that in front of you, and it will just show that I'm not really confident and I could be hesitant. So if you learn from your experience and especially reflect on them, you make that thing yours. So if you make that thing yours, it's really easy to speak it out in front of a big audience. So that'll be an easy thing for you. And also with practice, what I'm trying to say is not repeat what you're going to say, what like your script 100 times. What I mean is to get every opportunity that you have to speak in front of an audience, whether it be big or large, and no, small or big, and take all those opportunities and just absorb it and take advantage of it. Because if you discard that opportunity, it's another thing lost. And if you like keep on practicing your speeches and presentation, it will allow you to develop strategies and learn from your experience, past mistakes, and be more confident about whatever you're going to say. So thank you for the compliment, first of all. And I hope that with greater practices and more opportunities that you really take into yourself, you'll become a better speaker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still practicing all the time, and as you can tell, I'm not necessarily the best speaker at all, but I think it is just about practice, isn't it? The more you do it, the less likely you are to start blushing or for your brain to go blank or whatever. We've got quite a few questions here that I'm going to sort of combine together. Essentially, so plastic is one of your core things that you're working towards. Is there a resource or sort of like a place where you go to get your information, and are there any sort of not necessarily statistics, but well, any sort of information that you just wish the world would know about plastic?
That's a very good question. And I think so the first part of the question about where I get my resources are through websites, like basically the internet. I try my best to find credible resources that I could rely upon, and different news from different nations, because news from different nations could have different viewpoints, and it really allows me to see what different countries are struggling with and what different policies that they're enacting. So that really helps. Also, I learned a lot about plastic pollution and what different countries do from meetings or webinars that are held online. So whenever I get the opportunity to discuss these issues with people from around the world, I take that advantage and share the ideas and share the status quo from different countries. And that is where I get my information. Also, to answer the second question, second thing about a statistic that I hope everyone knows is that by 2050, there will be more plastic pieces in the ocean than there will be fish. So I think this is something that is really important, and I want everyone to notice, because this is a statistic that could be felt directly to our own hearts and our own environment, because this is not a statistic that you have to learn the science or math behind it, but rather just imagine living in a world where there are more artificial synthetic materials in your environment, the earth, the home you live in, than the fish, the nature that are supposed to be there. So I hope that everyone knows that by 2050, there will be more plastic pieces in the ocean than there will be fish, if we go like business as usual and we don't get to reduce our consumption.
Thank you, Cherry. That is horrifying, isn't it? And thankfully, when nothing's a quick fix, is it? It is a journey. And it takes a lot of compassion and working with others. But later on today, we do have, we've got people from all sorts of organisations, particularly thinking about the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, who'll be talking about fashion, which has a huge impact on our climate. So thank you very much for that. All righty. How do you get over, one of these questions is, how do you get it? Like, do you ever experience low morale? Is that something that you ever feel like, and what do you do when you feel like that?
Yeah, experienced that quite a lot. It could be surprising, but quite a lot. And I say that these are some burnouts. I think a lot of my teachers have mentioned this when they get to know me. And I experienced this when I overwhelm myself with too much enthusiasm that my self-care levels could not support and back up. So what I do in order to relieve that stress and that low morale is to take a rest, first of all, from all the activities that I do, maybe sleep more, drink more, eat better, and something like this, and give yourself that offline break. And during that time, look around, and by connecting back with your family, doing things that you love, it allows you to gain more inspiration and feel more motivated. And later on, when you get back to the task with a fresh mind, you get to work better and increase your productivity. Also, by looking out to other people and what they're doing, it's really inspiring. So that allows you to gain more inspiration and not just be so tired about what you have been doing, like the redundancy and etc.
Amazing. I love that rest as well. Like someone wise recently told me, and I'm going to completely ruin the correct wording, but the word scholar, and we all think of scholars as people that are very clever, very academic, know things, and very important people. But scholar, the original meaning of that word was someone who rests. Wow. Is there anything? So Cherry, you've been phenomenal. I have learned, and you know, as a youth worker, I love getting enthusiastic. I love connecting to young people, but I'm committed to rewatching this interview so that I can write down the things you've said and apply them to my own life, because I too am an enthusiast that gets burnt out sometimes. And I just really thank you for being so honest and open about where you are right now, and just keep on doing what you're doing. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
So thank you so much for allowing me to share these insights that I've gained. And I'm really glad that Global Social Leaders have been that journey where I have embarked and grow these skills that I could just share right now. And also I want to encourage people who will be watching, like whether it be youth or whether it be adults, just pursue your passions and continue that thing sustainably, because later on, if you look at yourself, look back, it really is worth it, and you'll be really appreciated for what you have gained so far. So thank you so much for fighting till now and pushing it through. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your thank yous. We're such, and you know, you're part of the family. Everyone here today is part of the family. Thank you so much, Cherry. Please, if you do have more questions, definitely do send them through. Maybe we'll connect you. I just got so excited that I wrote everything about what you said on the back of my notes. I've just got to make sure. Aha! It is break time now. So we're going to be back at 11:15 a.m. This is with Katy and Edward. So Katy is our co-founder. Edward works at Oxford University, and it's all about just leadership and how do we get people to flourish. So that's at 11:15. Until then, please go grab a cup of tea, a snack, because you know, snacks. I'm going to go find a snack. I'll let you know what I have later. But otherwise, Cherry, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for your questions so far. See you at 11:15.